Am I wrong for telling my niece why I kept a distance from her and her parents growing up? I, 42 male, have a niece, Lily, 18 female. Lily is the result of an affair my ex-fiancé had with my brother while we were still together. I was led to believe Lily was mine throughout the entire pregnancy and almost signed her birth certificate before my ex confessed out of guilt that Lily was probably my brother's. We did a DNA test and Lily wasn't mine. During my teens, I got into an accident which left me infertile. The doctor said my chances of fathering a child were slim to non-existent, so you can imagine how crushed I felt when I discovered that not only I'm not going to be a father, but I was also betrayed by two people I loved. It's been years since I did well for myself. I'm the first in my family to attend university, and I landed a high-paying job right after graduation. I own my own business, invest in property, and since I'm both single and childless, I can spend my income however I please. My ex ended up marrying my brother. I'm somewhat cordial towards them, but I can't bring myself to fully forgive them for what they did. And although I know Lily is blameless, whenever I see her, I'm constantly reminded of how I was once overjoyed with holding her in the hospital, thinking she was mine. So I can't bear to look at her for too long. I didn't visit her growing up, didn't take her on fun trips or give her lavish gifts like I did for the rest of my nieces and nephews. I wasn't mean or hateful to her, but I will admit I kept my distance. When my oldest nephew turned 18, I decided that I will pay for his college education since I could afford it while his parents couldn't. I even rented him one of my apartments for cheap so he wouldn't have to worry about money and could focus on getting his education. Since then, I did the same thing for two of my other nieces. Last week, Lily approached me during a family event and inquired if I could pay for her education. I told her no. She then called me a jerk and asked why I was so distant towards her and her parents to the point where I couldn't even do her the same favor I did for the rest of her cousins. I told her that her parents have enough money to afford her education and asked her how could she possibly expect me to be okay with watching my ex and brother, who had an affair behind my back, play a happy family in front of me. After that, Lily got quiet for the rest of the event and left early. I later got a call from my ex yelling at me for ruining her family. Apparently, she and my brother didn't bother telling Lily about what they did to me all those years ago, and now she knows she's so angry at them that she decided to go live with her boyfriend's family. I'm starting to feel guilty that I told her the truth since it affected her more than I thought it would, but at the same time, she's grown enough to know the truth, and I don't think I could have lied to her face even if I wanted to. Am I the a-hole? Quick update or edit. For those asking why it was so hard for me to look at Lily all those years, here's a couple of reasons to sum it up. 1. My ex and I began dating when we were 13 and broke up when we were 24, so 11 years. She knew about my infertility issues and how much I wanted to be a dad, and still led me to believe the baby was mine. 2. I named Lily when she was born since I always liked the name and wanted to name my daughter that, and ex didn't change her name, even after it was discovered she's not mine. 3. My brother and I look alike. Lily looks like my brother, and as a result, she also looks a lot like me. If my ex didn't tell me back then I wasn't her father, I wouldn't have suspected a thing. Having to witness a child that looked like me, has the name I chose, and was being raised by the woman I loved for so long, all the while being infertile, really made it impossible for me to be an active part of Lily's life like I was for her cousins, not out of resentment to her, but for the sake of my mental health. I decided to listen to some of your advice and text Lily. I asked her if she would like to meet up and have a conversation about what all went down since, like you said, she does deserve some answers. She hasn't replied yet. If she will, I'll update. I met up with Lily yesterday. I told her about my relationship with her mother, how and when it started, went into detail about the accident I went through, the cheating, her birth. I got over everything she asked me about. In turn, she told me everything her parents told her about me growing up. Apparently, she was told that around the time she was born, I had a miracle baby named Lily that died at the hospital. And since she and her shared the same name, I held some sort of resentment towards her. I'm still processing what she told me. I feel like it's such a twisted retelling of what actually happened, and it's insulting. Needless to say, there was a lot of crying involved and apologies from both ends. Lily says she's doing better now that she knows the truth, and that her BF and his family have been amazing support to her throughout all of this. Family decided to officially cut off any contact from my ex and brother. Now that Lily is an adult, there is no need to also invite them along so they can see her. For those asking me if I go to therapy, yes, I do. My therapist was one who suggested I distance myself from Lily and her parents all those years ago, and honestly, it did do wonders for my mental health, so I can't say I regret that decision. I was suicidal back then, and I don't think regular contact with them would have possibly done me any good. I decided that I'll try my best to be more involved in Lily's life now that I don't have to interact with her parents in order to meet up with her. Lily agreed and says she also wants to get to know me better. Overall, this whole incident opened up a lot of old wounds, but I'm glad it happened. It needed to happen. All I can say is that I hope that both Lily and I will probably heal from this and move on with our lives. Oh my god, you guys, wasn't this such a sad story? Damn, to be betrayed by your wife and your spouse and the person you love is one thing, but then for them to betray you, but to be betrayed by your own flesh and blood, that's crazy. Am I wrong for not wanting to invite fiance's friend to our wedding? I, 25 female, am in the midst of planning for my wedding, and the topic of whether we should invite fiance's friend comes up. Let's call her Josephine. Oh, it's her. You guys, I didn't read the story. This is my first time reading it. For some context, fiance and Josephine are friends first. I got to know Josephine more after getting together with my fiance. Josephine and us were classmates, and now that we graduated, we are working in the same company. Although we were in the same department, we don't cross paths often. However, there are many mutual friends and colleagues between Josephine and us. Josephine and I have had a rocky friendship, and we now do not speak to each other unless absolutely necessary for work-related matters. It started when I found out Josephine was talking to me to my fiancé. Then I found out she told others she didn't like that I was clingy to my fiancé. I did not let him hang out with his friends alone. However, the times where I joined Josephine and him and their mutual friends, it was only after an invitation. Most of the time, I invite Josephine to hang out with us. We were a trio for a while. Afterwards, Josephine started acting cold towards me, and I did confront her as it was bothering me. However, she brushed it up as me being sensitive. Afterwards, things were fine, but apparently I did something that annoyed her, and she went back to ignore me for a while. She then confided in a friend who then told me. I did not know of this until the mutual friend told me I annoyed her. Things did not go back to the same afterwards, and I did confront her a second time. The gist of her response is she's not a texting person. It would not unnecessarily initiate convo, which I know is not true as she has done that in the past. I think it's more like she doesn't want to talk to me unnecessarily. It made me feel like I was gaslighted. She still talks to fiancé regularly. After that incident, we stopped talking entirely, and the sight of her makes me extremely uncomfortable and insecure. Now we are at the wedding planning stage and discussing whether to invite her or not. Fiancé knows that I do not want her there, and I'm uncomfortable with her. However, he wants to invite her still, as there are many mutual friends and colleagues that will be at the wedding. He also does not want people to gossip as to why she's not there. So am I the ill for not wanting Josephine at my wedding? If I'm paying for my wedding, it's my day, it's my marriage. I'm not going to invite someone that I do not want to be there. I don't understand why this is even a question. And I feel like, what are they, in high school? She's ignoring me. She doesn't like to text. She doesn't want to talk to me. Like, this sounds like a bunch of high school stuff, I'm honest. But yeah, OP is definitely not wrong. You're a grown adult. If your fiancé cannot make up his mind, it's going to be either her or you because it's your wedding. Do you know how expensive weddings are? Imagine like being upset the whole entire, and I know if OP is literally talking about this right now on big Reddit. She's probably gonna be dwelling about it on her big day, and she's gonna be thinking about it. And honestly, as expensive and time consuming, and as hard work goes into weddings, I would not want to spend not a single second of my time while I'm getting married on my big day thinking about some heifer I don't like. So no, don't invite her.